Calls are growing increasingly from health professionals to place the country under stricter travel restrictions. Some health sector representatives have come forward and called out for a complete restriction of movement across the entire country. Of course, all of these recommendations come against the backdrop where Sri Lanka is also suffering with an economic crisis that has crippled many sectors in the country. A very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. We've got the latest of news from here at home and across the globe. But before we take a look at all of those stories in detail, let's take a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Will travel restrictions be imposed?
සංචාරණ සීමා පනවනවද නැද්ද කියන එක. ඒක රජය මගින් ගත යුතු තීරණයක්.
The Consumer Affairs Authority grants approval to increase the price of 12.5 kilogram domestic Lavs gas cylinder by 363 rupees. Joint trade unions launch SATHYAGRAHA at the Independence Square in support of the ongoing struggle of teachers and principals. Today marks World Elephant Day.
Taking a look at those stories in detail now, the question on everybody's minds right now is, will travel restrictions be imposed across Sri Lanka given the rising number of COVID-19 cases in the country and also the spread of the more virulent and more dangerous Delta variant of COVID-19? Deputy Director of Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, expressed these views on this matter at a media briefing held this morning.
සංචාරණ සීමා පනවනවද නැද්ද කියන එක.
It is up to the government to decide whether to impose travel restrictions or not. It is something that is always included in our recommendations. Various health professionals in their fields of expertise carry out risk assessments, and these assessments are handed over to the relevant authorities. So all of these sectors decide together on the best course of action for our country. We are doing everything we can at this moment.
වඩාත්ම සුදුසු විකල්පය තමයි හැම වෙලේම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ. අපේ පැත්තෙන් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් හැමදේම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කරගෙන යනවා.
Meanwhile, 124 COVID-19 deaths were reported yesterday. According to the Department of Information, the deaths were confirmed by Director General of Health Services on the 10th of this month. With the latest data, the total number of COVID-19 deaths in the country increased to 5,464. 2,890 COVID-19 infections were detected in the country yesterday. Meanwhile, the vaccination program continued across the island today. The 24-hour vaccination centre operated by Sri Lanka Army at the Vihara Mahadevi Open Air Theatre continued their operations today. The vaccination centre set up at the Sugatadasa Stadium in Colombo was operated by the Sri Lanka Police. The vaccination program conducted by Sri Lanka Navy was also conducted at the Navy base in Colombo. A mobile vaccination program was launched in the Western Province today to vaccinate disabled and senior citizens in the province. The program was launched at the Army headquarters located in Sri Jayawardhanapura under the auspices of Commander of Sri Lanka Army, General Shavendra Silva. Accordingly, one mobile vaccination vehicle was deployed to Dematagoda, 3 vaccination vehicles to Modra, Colombo 15, and 1 vehicle was deployed to cover Gangarama Mawat in Mattakulia. The Army headquarters added that 3 mobile vaccination vehicles were assigned to cover Grand Pass, Colombo 14, and 2 vehicles for Blue Mandal, Colombo 15. Sri Lanka Army stated that a total of 10 mobile vaccination vehicles along with the required medical staff have been deployed for the mobile vaccination program. We were informed that there is a group of people who have not yet received the vaccine as they are confined to their homes and there are difficulties in even bringing them to a vaccination centre. So we launched a mobile vaccination program this morning. Thereby such selected individuals were contacted yesterday and informed of the time that we will visit them today. We informed the doctors and nurses involved in this program to vaccinate even other people who may be present at these houses if they are above the age of 30.
Is Sri Lanka really facing a shortage in domestic gas cylinders in the country? Well, of course, there were instances in the previous days where we reported of people standing in long queues to obtain these gas cylinders. However, has the situation developed since the cabinet took a decision on the matter? Meanwhile, the Consumer Affairs Authority has now granted approval to increase the price of a 12.5 kilogram domestic laughs gas cylinder by 363 rupees. With the approval given by the Consumer Affairs Authority, the new price of a laughs gas cylinder now stands at 1,856.
The 12.5 kilogram domestic laughs gas cylinder that was previously sold at 1,493 rupees in the Western province will now be sold at 1,856 rupees. The gas cylinder that was 598 rupees will now be sold at 743 rupees. Steps will be taken to allow Litro Gas to sell their gas cylinders at the previous prices, as the government will bear the loss for the company. Do not have any unwanted fears about gas shortage in the country.
Consumers continue to face hardships in purchasing gas cylinders today as well. Tokens were issued to people who came to purchase gas cylinders in Kurunegala today.
ගාලා මේ අතරේ අපි මෙහෙට දීලා අපි පස්සේ එක දැක්කේ. ඉතින් මේ වගේ මිනිස්සුනේ මේ රටේ ඉන්නේ. ඔබතුමාලා බලනවා. ඉවරනකම් බලන්න. අපි අපිට නෑ. එදා වෙලා අපේ පුත්තන් ගන්නවා. කොටියක් පුත්තන. ගෑස් එක නැතනම් මම චොකල් ජීවත් වෙනවා. ඒ රටයක් දෙන්න මොනවද? දැන්ගල ගොන් හැරෙන්නේ ඉන්නේ.
This was the situation in Palavatta today.
gas එනවා කියනවා නෑ කියනවා මෙහෙම මිනිස්සු පොලිමේ දැන් මෙහෙම ඉඳලා හරියන්නේ නෑනේ මෙයා රජයට පවර ගත්තා නම් ඉවරයි. අතර මුල්ල පැලවත්ත මාළඹේ කිසිම තැනක gas.
At least 20 people were injured in an accident involving an SLTB bus that occurred today. The accident occurred in Kallunnadi, Jaffna.
The bus was travelling from Karinagar to Jaffna this morning. Police said the driver lost control of the bus and the vehicle veered off the road. The injured have been admitted to the Jaffna Teaching Hospital.
An operation to inspect food outlets in Veligama was conducted by public health inspectors last night.
The operation carried out by public health inspectors in Veligama focused on whether the food outlets were operating in compliance with health guidelines. Those who violated health guidelines were warned by the PHIs. Wear your face masks. Adhere to the health guidelines at all times. The food are made in an unhygienic manner. The food truck remains until all stocks are over. When this happens, the food is being exposed to the dust and flies on the road. We would like to advise these retailers to maintain hygiene in all trade activities and engage in only necessary trade activities.
The Colombo Magistrates Court issued an order banning 4 websites that advertised the sale of a 15-year-old girl in Mount Lavinia for sexual activities. The order was issued as per a request made by the Police, Women's and Children's Bureau.
45 people have been arrested over the incident of online human trafficking of a 15-year-old girl in Mount Lavinia. During the investigation, it was revealed that the trafficking was done through 4 websites that were registered in Sri Lanka. As per a request by the Women and Children's Bureau, the Director General of Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has been ordered by the court to ban the 4 registered websites which had published advertisements for the sale of the girl. Operating these websites, logging onto websites or uploading information to the websites will be considered a crime. Further investigations will be carried out by the Children and Women's Bureau into the matter.
යම් යම් තොරතුරු ජාලගත කිරීම වරදක් වෙනවා. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තවදුරටත් ළමා හා කාන්තා කාර්යාංශය විසින් පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වනු ලබනවා.
Moving on to a developing story now, representatives of teachers and principals trade unions who have suspended conducting online lectures over salary anomalies launched a Satyagraha this morning. The Satyagraha is being staged at Independence Square in Colombo.
Over 50 representatives of various trade unions were present at the Satyagraha. 50 trade union leaders who represent some of the main trade unions in the country have gathered here. We have decided to take our struggle from the street to the cyberspace. We will not stop this struggle until we emerge victorious. The leaders of trade unions in the private sector, semi-government sector and government sector are present here today. Venerable Theros are here as well. We would like to stress to this government that enough is enough. After 2 cabinet meetings, they have appointed a subcommittee. The government usually appoints these subcommittees to procrastinate issues. The subcommittee will present their report at the 4th cabinet meeting that has taken place after our struggle began. But even by yesterday, a member of that subcommittee, Mahinda Amravira, said that this cannot be handed over by next Monday. So this will get postponed to the next week. We have an issue as to if these committees are appointed to kill time. It has taken 3 days for this subcommittee to meet. Today is Thursday. The cabinet met on Monday. So we have a suspicion as to if this subcommittee was appointed to solve this issue or prolong this issue.
Sri Lanka has always been famous for the elephants that live on our beautiful island. And today marks World Elephant Day.
The World Elephant Day is of utmost importance to Sri Lanka, which has been a unique breeding ground for elephants. The importance has heightened even more in this day and age, as there is a great need of a sustainable solution for the human-elephant conflict in Sri Lanka. According to surveys, there are close to 6,000 elephants in Sri Lanka, and 5% of them are tuskers. However, on an unfortunate note, about 300 elephants have died due to the human-elephant conflict. More than 100 human lives have been lost due to this yet-to-be-resolved conflict. According to the Department of Wildlife, the elephant fence erected across the country to seek a solution for the human-elephant conflict that extends to 4,500 kilometers is expected to be further extended by another 1,500 kilometers. A leading specialist on wild elephants, Dr. Pruthuviraj Fernando, says that placement is an integral part in installing an elephant fence, and that miscalculating the placement of the fence is a massive obstacle to solve the human-elephant conflict.
Meanwhile, Minister of Wildlife C.B. Ratnayaka expressed views regarding investigations into the death of 7 elephants in the Kirivadunne area in Habarana in 2019. On the 28th and 29th of September 2019, 7 deaths of elephants were reported in the Habarana Kirivadunne area. At that time, it was announced that the investigation was being carried out into the matter. Was the report published? We addressed this issue when we were in the opposition. We too were questioning the delay in getting this report. But there are shortcomings in the laboratories. But in this incident, the elephants were poisoned. This happens today as well. The report was sent to the government analyst. The court case will be taken up on the 14th of September. The government analyst report should be submitted on that day. This happened in 2019. And it's already 2021 now. Fellow Sri Lankans and our friends are the ones involved in issuing the report. Why are they not issuing this report? What is causing the delay? Is it the weakness of the Wildlife Department or the weakness of certain individuals? Or is it the action of disruptive people? This is the national resource and a form of income generation.
වාර්තාවෙන් රටට කාගේ වනජීවිකයේ දුර්වලකමක්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් කාගේ හරි දුර්වලකමක්ද නැත්නම් විනාශ කරන මිනිස්සු ඒ කරන දෙයක්ද මේ රටේ සම්පතක් රටට ආදායම් මාර්ගයක් දෙන එකක්.
The Rambakan oil reservoir has garnered much attention with the spread of a certain species of algae in its waters. Now, according to residents in the area, this has been linked to clearing of land in the area surrounding Rambakanoya. A group including the convener of the Let's Protect Bimtanapattua Vasantha Piyathissa inspected the area to look into these matters.
The group inspected a 500-acre plot of land which was earlier used for corn cultivation. It was observed that the agrochemicals used for the cultivation has mixed with the water in the Rambakanoya. According to Divisional Manager at the Water Resource and Drainage Board in Ampara, due to agrochemicals being mixed in the water in the Rambakanoya has been contaminated. People of the Mahaoya region who are dependent on the water supply from the Rambakanoya have been severely hampered as of now. Many industries in the area have been impacted due to this issue as well.
A proposed roadmap for Sri Lankan diplomatic missions in India titled Integrated Country Strategy has been released by Sri Lankan High Commissioner Designate to India, Milinda Murugoda.
The document aims to develop the relationship between the two nations between 2021 and 2023 through a goals-based approach in the fields of politics, investment and economics, geopolitics and cultural aspects. This proposed country strategy has been compiled by Niluka Kadurugamua, the Deputy High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in New Delhi, under the guidance and oversight of Mr. Milinda Murugoda. Newsfirst.lk spoke to the Sri Lankan Deputy High Commission in New Delhi about the Integrated Country Strategy 2021-2023.
Especially looking at a situation where Sri Lanka has been having long years of a relationship between the two countries. Why is there an importance or a necessity to come up with a brand new document called the Integrated Country Strategy for 2021 and 2020?
When new High Commissioner designated to India, His Excellency Mr. Milinda Murugoda was appointed, he was the one who came up with this idea of the Sri Lanka missions, diplomatic missions in India, working together as one team, a country team. With this idea, the High Commission of Sri Lanka in New Delhi, the Deputy High Commission of Sri Lanka in Chennai, as well as the Consulate General in Mumbai, are to work as one team, as an integrated one team, one country team. He was also guiding us to have a comprehensive, integrated document, a work plan, or a strategy for all these three missions to carry out their work for the next 2 years. Basically for 2021 to 2023 during his tenure. So this is how it came about, to deliver as a one country team and for all three Sri Lanka diplomatic missions.
Let's now take a look at your international news in brief.